All right, welcome to the green room. Hanging out.
The green room. That's
Very
right.
good.
Yes.
Did you forget already from yesterday?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was like getting ready to retweet it, and so I was
You're like half
mentally
in, half
mentally
out.
prepared to hear
Yes.
the
Yes.
the start of the pod. But yeah,
I should
I
retweet
like the
too.
green room though. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the green room, just hanging out in the green. I mean, it makes sense from that perspective. We're just hanging out in the green room. No big deal.
I
Getting
I
ready
do
for
think it
the
is.
pod.
It's very true. The phrase like "don't do the show in the green room." Like I think there is a lot. Of
It's
truth to
very
that.
true. Yes.
Like definitely now that I've
let
been,
people know your opinions. You want to.
well, I also
You
just
want it to be natural,
exactly
and real.
right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like before I started doing radio more and more, like
All right, what are we going to talk? What are you going to say? What am I going to say?
yeah,
You don't
or
do that
even
as
just
much.
like you ruin the nature of the discussion.
Yeah,
if
it's
you're
not.
more-
It's not
yeah.
natural and real in
Yes.
the moment. Oscar nominations just came out. You excited?
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't see them.
8:30
Like literally
today.
just came out.
8:30 this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Big day for you.
Yeah. It's not an amazing year. It's an okay year.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I'm very excited about it because
Is
it's
a
the
different
Oscars,
man
and I'm
nominated
always
at
in.
all?
No, he got nominated though for The Apprentice. Sebastian Stan is nominated for Best
Is The
Actor.
Apprentice out already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been out. It was
Alright.
out for months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he played Trump in it?
He played Trump in it. He's supposed to be great. I'm gonna watch it.
I find Trump impressions either hysterical or so cringy.
Yeah. Apparently he's great. And Jeremy Strong got nominated from it too. So,
Yeah.
Of course, Kendall Roy.
Oh.
So both Kendall and Roman are nominated for
What did
Best
he
Supporting
play in the
Actor.
Trump movie?
He plays Roy Cohn.
Okay.
Who is Trump's mentor, and
Right.
Roy Cohn, a very famous person in American history, of course.
Yep.
Well, there you go. I think that was a good green room.
Let the people filter in.
Nope, not our thing. All right, you ready? Tucker, are you ready?
Yeah, as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, Tucker's never ready, so
We got two pods to do.
Oh, I know. I got my AMA questions right here ready to roll. Okay, let me tell you, so this is the last thing I'll say in the green. We're going to do, if you're here, hang out. We're going to do High Hopes next. AMA of High Hopes. Way too many questions about prospects. Like, enough already. I'm going to have to sit and listen to Jack talk about prospects for like an hour today, and I'm not excited.
I'm not surprised because I feel like the High Hopes audience is
I know, but it's like, all right,
this.
one or two, like AMA, ask questions about us. Like, do you want to know something? Like, we don't normally talk about. Jack talks about prospects every pod.
That's
like,
fair.
Let's talk about something different, people. Anyway,
that's fair.
You got a soccer question in the
because of
the chat already.
Ooh, what is it?
I don't know. I don't even know if this is English. It says leads Evit to the Prem. You know what that means?
Well, I think it means
that they're going to go up to the Premier League.
I'm not sure
Come
what
on,
the
Tucker.
middle part means.
It says Evit to the Prem.
It's obviously not English.
Is it like Eve as in Christmas Eve?
Like
New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Oh, he's saying it's
like
the
event.
Eve. Can they win tomorrow and get in?
No, there's still there's 18 games left.
Okay.
So.
Oh my god.
So who knows?
Tell me about
Probably a different language then.
Big win yesterday. Put on the spreadsheet.
Oh, so excited.
The
spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Your
spreadsheet got updated. Yeah.
All right, nice green room. That was a good green room.
It was.
All right.
Worth tuning in for.
It is. Tune in for the green room. It's the pre-show show. All right, let's go. Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. Eliot Shorr-Parks, James Seltzer with you. Day 18?
There it is.
Day 18.
Day 18.
How about it?
Yep.
18 days straight. You and I have been looking at each other.
I know.
And talking to each
What a lucky guy.
I do
What
feel,
a
I
lucky
feel so
guy.
lucky. You're right. I feel very lucky.
I need them to win Sunday.
Oh my god, dude! It's
I was so
I need it. So I need the full run. I mean, I need them to win it all, obviously, but we can get to that after this week. I'm very Nick Sirianni, one game at a time.
Boring.
Focus on the Commanders. That's all I'm worried about. But yeah, like I need this to be the full run. I need this thing to continue.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think it will. I'm still in the camp of I think they'll win.
You're a nervous wreck.
You
are honestly, you're the most nervous person I've talked to this week. Joe was actually just saying on the morning show like 10 minutes ago when we were finishing the show. He's like, wow, we've gotten like 0 calls of people who are concerned about watching.
I'm really surprised by that.
No guess. I mean, we had Seth Joyner literally say there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Washington wins, which I think is too far.
Yeah.
But I honestly, of all the people I talked to, you are the most nervous.
So here's I've been trying to think of why. And I think there's a couple reasons. Obviously the quarterback thing, which we've talked about.
Inner excellence, by the way.
Yeah, let me just
do your thing first on the nerves, and then we'll get
So I think probably where it comes from is, even though I know the Eagles have the best defense in the NFL, and I know the Eagles defense can win a game for them because they have. They won a lot of games.
They won the last 2 games.
Yeah.
2 in a row, both playoff games.
Right.
I'm by the defense.
There's just still a part of me that can't go into a game confident that you'll win because of defense.
Well,
I'm still very
I
much
get
of like
it. I get
the
it.
offense needs to win it, and I'm not confident the Eagles offense can definitely win. I think they will win the game, but like I'm not going into this.
I think the defense will win it for him. What's funny,
yeah, which is why I'll pick the Eagles.
It's so the amount of times that we said in the offseason or leading into the season, well, as long as the defense can just be serviceable, get a couple stops when you need it. Obviously, if this team's going to be great, it's because they're going to have one of the great offenses we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
the offense has been good. It's not like the offense has
it's
been
the best
bad.
running game we've ever seen. It's just so funny because, like, without a doubt, of the two, the defense is the better.
I
unit.
agree. And so I think that when you look at this game, and so it's not surprising Seth would feel a ton of confidence as a defensive guy. And I think, look, we got good news with Quinion yesterday.
Huge.
He's going to play.
Yeah. And Jalen, look, I'm concerned about the knee in a general sense. I feel like it's gone as well as I could have hoped from what we're hearing about Jalen's knee, and also the way Jalen, he's limited, not out yesterday. Like, basically, kind of, I'm as positive as I could be about the knee. While
I think
still
the
being
injury
concerned
news has been really good. Now Goddard and Juergens.
Yeah, they got her out of nowhere. Juergens.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about either of those?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely concerned about the Goddard thing. And then Juergens, I don't know enough about yet, so we'll find out more today. The fact it's a back is not good. The fact it's tough because it's an estimate of what they would have done in a practice. So he probably was at the walkthrough yesterday and did it, but if it was a real practice, wouldn't have been able to. So that's not great. I mean, we talked about how Jonathan Allen has been awesome so far this year. I heard a bit of the morning show driving in, like, Nick Gates is the backup center. Don't feel great about that matchup if he has to go in.
Very big. He wasn't even good in that Giants game. Like, he was the problem.
Now, Juergens will play, I'm sure. And
I think so, too.
Right? Like, he'll probably play the whole game. You can't project.
And he is they're both losses. Goddard has been the best receiver in the playoffs for the team, shockingly.
Right.
But I think of the two, I think Juergens clearly the bigger loss.
Well, yeah.
Based on the backup.
Massive one.
That's my point.
Yeah. So, one last thing. Well, let me do inner excellence first. I have a question for you.
Are you cheating?
A little bit.
Yeah. So you picked the passage.
Well, I just feel like we haven't got great passages.
But
you can ask. Hold on. You can ask Tucker. How long did I spend looking? Maybe 2 seconds. I literally opened the book and I swear I maybe turned 1 or 2 pages and I just happened to find.
How do we feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like searching for it.
Right. It was literally 2 or 3 seconds.
Pretty strong on just pick a random passage.
But I swear all I did was I picked it up and I think I went like this and I happened to get it.
I mean, this page has like a chart on it. I'm excited about that.
No, I just think
I'm a little leery of this.
Yeah,
but,
that's fine.
We're gonna do what we're gonna do here. I don't love this, but read your chosen passage.
The most dangerous position. We've become so obsessed with comparing well and being successful so we can know that we're somebody, that we're okay, that we often choose the wrong path in pursuit of our dreams.
That's it. That's all.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah, because it was like. We've talked about this in various ways on the pod before, but like, actually not a ton, but with like social media and like always wanting, you probably don't do this as much because you're not on social media. So you probably can't relate to this. But like a big thing, obviously, is like you see people on social media and like you compare your life to them and like, but you're only seeing their highlights.
I definitely don't do that.
You make
I'm not on Instagram.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
this is not your wheelhouse.
I don't even see people. I see Twitter's the only thing I'm on. And even then it's just people writing.
But what I think's interesting about that is like you see things on social media that you're not really informed about. And then you make decisions off of your life based off of that. You see what I'm saying?
I don't.
Well, but I mean, you don't go through it.
I get what he's saying.
Right.
I've never been a keep up with the Jones mentality. Like I've never really cared what other people have or do. I just care about my path and my focus. But I get what he's saying. I think it's important to have that.
And I could see if we want to try to tie all these to AJ, but like if you want to try to, like, yesterday AJ talked and it's got to kill him inside that he's getting so many questions about run blocking. Like he can pretend like it's all like, oh, like he's happy doing it. And I was so happy I had those 2 blocks. And I'm sure part of him is. And I do think AJ is a team guy, but there's no way that he is not looking around the league at other receivers, putting up all these numbers, making Pro Bowls,
Well, he was second team all pro.
He was, which props him, but like could have been, he has sacrificed a lot this year. So I do think there's something about
this.
He
did get a huge contract.
He did, for sure.
Like, and that's the thing coming into the season. We knew, like we said, when you and it's normally Dallas Goedert, but when you have Saquon Barkley, when you have Devontae Smith, when you have Dallas Goedert, when you have AJ Brown, like none of those guys are going to get what they would get if they were the number 1 option on a team, which other than Goddard, all 3 of those guys could be the number 1 option on a team. Guess what? When you're all 3 on the same team, you're not going to get as much as you would if you were the main guy on the team.
And I think AJ and Devontae, we can loop him in here, have done a really good job handling that for sure. Like,
yeah, I think AJ, other than one moment, which it all worked out fine, but I don't think he did a great job
the
handling it.
passing thing
Yeah,
you're talking about.
but
Yeah.
otherwise, I think he's done a great job.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do think there still has to be a part of him.
Devontae has done a perfect job.
Yeah.
Like, model yourself after Devontae Smith.
At least
you're
publicly.
A professional athlete, public.
Yeah.
If you're a professional athlete, say what that guy says, act the way that guy acts. Like,
yeah.
what a freaking professional.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
I mean, the Alabama guys,
Yeah.
like there is obviously an advantage.
They're prepared. For it.
But I think there has to be a part of AJ that is just, and Devontae, that you watch, like Saquon has 2,000 yards, the 2K say shirts that everyone wears, like all the years about Saquon. I respect their ability to not make it.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, they want to win. Like,
no, I know,
they
but
should act that way.
They do
like,
want to win, but they are still sacrificing.
Yeah,
so I could see
guess
how.
so, but like they are, but at the same time, not really, because they both got contracts for the season. The reason you play is to make money and to win a championship, and they've got both those things in front of them. Like, I mean, like, my point being, if they win the Super Bowl this year, like, if I'm AJ, that's a better season for me than any year where I had more yards, more touchdowns, more this, more that. Same thing for Devontae. So it's like,
if they win the Super Bowl, I agree.
Yeah, but you're trying to win this. Like, that's the whole point of it. I get what you're saying, but like, I don't like looking at it. I mean, Nick would hate looking at it that way, right?
No, but like, whether we want to look at it that way or not, I do think there is just a reality of, like, when you are a professional athlete on a team.
Look, I get it.
You
I get it, but at the same time, like, when you're making $25 million to play this year, like, I don't have sympathy. Like, my point is, like, I don't look at it and be like, hey, yay, good job, man, for sacrificing. I look at it as like, yeah, you got paid $25 million to do whatever's best for this team to win football games. Like, and guess what? You're winning a lot of them. So I think complaining in that spot would be a real problem for me. Like, I don't think, like, I get that sacrificing targets and stuff like that, but it's for the betterment of your team. Like, it should all be about the team, and that's great. That's what they're doing. But like, I have no like, oh, poor AJ didn't get as many catches. Like, who cares? Win football games.
Well,
like, it doesn't mean anything to me, especially because they just got paid. If he was in a contract year or something like that, completely different discussion. But they just got paid.
So I think both things can be true. I think you're right. Like, they should all do what's best for the team. But I still think they deserve credit for handling it well. Like, the best I can think of is, let's say,
I think Devontae does. AJ's
handled
He's
it
handled it well while he complained. Like,
no. He had the one thing where he said the passing game wasn't great. Like that, and that was, for what it's worth. Like,
I
we
think
all
AJ's
agreed
done
with
it
that.
fine, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, great job, AJ, for being a teammate. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is what he should do.
It's what he should do, but it's not easy to do, if that makes sense. Like, it would be like, all right, let's say this,
I don't know. Now, if you're winning, man, hold up. What about Jalen?
Well,
what about what Jalen sacrificed?
I agree. Jalen has sacrificed.
Jalen has been crushed this year because he's not throwing like 100 whatever yards, this and that. Like, but you know what? We haven't heard him complain once. In fact, he's looked happier and more excited, and he's doing the Saquon thing. Like, we just saw him like the giddiest he's ever been with like doing an interview with Saquon. Like, get over it.
So I agree that Jalen has sacrificed. The difference between Jalen and AJ is, and I think we would all agree on this, the reason they're not passing it is not because of AJ. The reason they're not passing it is because of Jalen's limitation.
I get your point, but like, I understand where you're going with it.
So
I'm just not gonna like be like, great job, like, not complaining. Like,
but all right,
I don't understand.
So like, let's just use the morning shows example, right? Let's say, and I don't think this would be the case, because obviously whenever you talk, I love to hear you talk.
But if I talk less, we had better ratings.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay, right. And if, like, let's say Rod said you talk 30% less.
He did when we first started the show, because Joe didn't really trust John because he didn't know him.
Right.
Joe and I had worked together for years. Joe would talk to me way more than he talked to John. Spike had to come to me and say, hey, man, you got to back off. You got to talk less. And it was absolutely the right call for the show.
Right.
And I did it, and I'm happy I did it.
And I think, and yes, I'm saying I think that's admirable. Like, that's what I'm saying about the AJ thing. Like, when you were told to talk less and you did it,
I'm not making $25 million a year, So
yeah, but the money doesn't really matter in this case. Like, we're talking about ego and how they feel.
The reason the numbers matter are to win and to get paid. That's the whole point of it. So I think the money is absolutely a part of it.
I think there's more than that, though. Like, you're a huge part of the morning show, right? Like, when people think of the morning show, they think of you, Richie, and Joe. Like, if you had to take and Rhea, and well, like, everyone, right? Yeah. And Devin. But like, you three came in together.
Right.
So if you were told to take a back seat, so for the betterment of the show, like, and you did it with a smile on, and it's better for the show and the station, I think that would be extremely mature and admirable of you. I think it would be okay for you to say, I've been here for 10 years. Like, right?
I think
So
it's a different thing, though. Like, I get what you're
But
trying to I just don't think it's apples to apples. Like, it's a hard
well,
comparison to
but
make.
I think what I'm talking about is personal sacrifice.
Right, but if they had given me a brand new contract where I was making more than anyone else in my field,
Right.
in my industry, or as much or whatever, and then asked me to do it, wouldn't that be a different situation than if I were coming up for a contract in a year and I had to prove my value and prove my worth? Like, that is different.
It's different, but I still think even with the new contract, there would still I would feel for you at least a justification of like, well, no, I should be
I
able to
just think
talk
we think
still.
about it differently, I guess.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I can check my ego at the door. You can't. I think it's
no,
worth it
no.
done.
I'm,
It's pretty
I'm
clear,
saying
right?
I'm saying I think he deserves credit for how he's
I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. You can give him credit, but like I don't think he deserves it. I think he's doing his job. Like his job is to come in and help them win football games, right?
Right.
Like,
But when he
do we say what about offensive linemen? We don't sit, and this is a unique offensive line because they're
right.
famous
And they got what they wanted
and they
with
got
the Rumble.
but like in reality, like offensive line, that whole job is you're not getting the ball, you're not getting the credit, you're
Right.
to your point, like a wide receiver blocking, like, wow, I had that block, that was cool. Like we don't ever say like, wow, admirable job by the offensive line, not complaining
Yeah.
about this or that.
Offensive lineman's a thankless position. I agree with you.
So I just don't I don't think we need to thank AJ. I think he's just doing what he's getting paid to do, and he's doing a great job of it.
I mean, maybe we agree on this more than it seems. I think AJ and Devontae, because of how good they are, how much they've accomplished in the league, would have had a right this year to feel like they should be more involved in the offense. And the fact that they have not, at least publicly, like I think it could have been way well, but AJ did it one time and it like was a 2-week thing.
Look,
So
AJ's had a few moments over his career where up at 38, 31-7 before they scored, like whatever it was in that Giants game, he's complaining on the sideline about not getting the ball. Like we've seen this from AJ more. Devontae, never once, not one time has he ever had an issue with this. So like I can't, like I'll give Devontae all the credit in the world. I'll give AJ some credit, but I just don't think they just like need credit when they're making $25 million a year to go out and be part of a team and they're 16-3. Like, great job, guys. Awesome.
Yeah.
I get where you're going. Let's move on.
We're
not going to disagree.
Yeah.
All right. We got your 5 key.
So yeah, I saw a funny sign today really quick.
Ooh.
This could be a final thought, but maybe it's just good transition thing. So I'm walking from the office to or my car to the office, and this sign is hanging up on a pole. I'm not going to read the guy's number, but I'll show you the picture just because it's funny. So this guy's picture is on the pole, right?
Okay, so read it. Yeah.
And it says Eric to the blonde.
So should we tell people what it looks like?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like kind of an older
publicly
guy
out there,
with
so
like
not
crazy hair.
You're not gonna be able to see it anyway.
No, I mean for the listeners.
Oh,
People
yeah.
are
Good
not
point,
watching
good
on
point,
YouTube.
good point,
I'm
good
saying
point.
the people listening to the podcast.
It's just like an old guy.
Yeah, it's like an
best way to
old guy
describe
with
it.
his hair is kind of looking crazy and stuff. A blonde.
And it says, to the blonde beauty who used to go to the YMCA on Christian Street, text me, please. You put his number.
No
Talk about
way.
shooting your shot.
Also, like that guy.
Well, it's just I love it's like
it's hilarious, is what it is.
And it's just so funny to think, like, imagine if you're that blonde beauty who used to go to the
So
YMCA.
is that at the YMCA?
I don't even know where the YMCA is.
That's
No, this was
Zoe has her
outside
swim
of
class.
and it's actually not
I
near
literally
Christian.
go there for Zoe's swim.
No, you're right. So it's nowhere close to that.
Yeah.
So I just like talk about just all time like shooting your shot and think of how much you'd have to like somebody and like be interested
to really
do that.
put it out there.
Right.
Also, like how many people are going to text you otherwise too? Just because
it would be funny
out
if
there
we
in the world.
texted like,
Hey,
do you think AJ's made enough sacrifice? Just completely unrelated to what's going on. It's also like, you remember back in the day, they used to have like misconnections. On,
of
like,
course.
Craigslist
Yes.
and
Of
the paper.
course. Yes.
Like, it's so crazy to think how that's not real. Like, it is still a thing, but you would handle it so different.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I've seen people tweet that. Like, oh, I met a girl at a play.
Well, there was the girl at the Eagles game a few weeks ago. Remember this went viral?
No, what happened?
She like, some guy yelled at her out of a car, like you're hot or something.
What?
And I guess she thought he was hot too. So
what?
She said on the news, like, if you're the one that said that,
no.
come find me. Yeah.
Did they find each other?
I don't know that.
I
feel like they probably didn't because otherwise I would think that would go
for
viral. Yeah, but I'm into a misconnection though. Like I definitely could picture like, I don't know, you're in the sub.
Yeah,
you
it's
see
a
someone,
fun
you're like,
idea. I mean, it's like a movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's a, what's it called? A meet cute? Or
Meet cute.
that's a cute, right? Is it
Meet
cute?
cute
From the holiday.
Yeah. Is it from? I don't know what it's from.
Well, that's where I know it from. They talk about it in the
it's just a
holiday.
phrase that's used. But yeah, meet cute is like how you meet. It's a cute one.
I would say this would be a cute way to meet. If you saw the sign,
absolutely. That's a total meet cute.
That's a great like story
that
when
would
you're out with
fall
another
under the meet
couple.
cute,
How did you meet?
Yeah.
So here's a question before we get to the 5 thoughts. Because the midday's doing this, that was an interesting question. Is this game on the offense or the defense?
The defense.
So I think it's on the offense.
I mean, it's one of those things where, obviously it's both.
Right.
But I think that, and it's funny because we said the season is on the offense, really. And I understand what you're saying. Like the offense has to do well for them to win. But
Yeah.
but when I hear the phrase "is this game on," I think of all right, who's got to carry the team today? And I think it's the defense always.
So
I think every game this season I think it's always on the defense now because that's the best thing that we have,
I think the defense is the better unit of the two. Right?
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So in that way, I agree. And also, Washington's offense is better than
Then
Washington's
defense. Yeah.
I just
So
still,
that's why I think in this one it's clearly the defense.
I still think though, because the Washington offense is good, you can't expect this defense.
Look, it's both of them.
Yeah, of course.
But you got to go with your best unit. You play your strengths.
But I think the offense against this Washington defense should be able to move the ball.
Sure. Again, I think it's no offense to the midday show. I don't think it's a great question because
Right.
it's both. Obviously, it's both. I think if I had to choose, I would just choose the better unit. But I don't feel super strong. You could convince me oh well, the offense has scored points. Yeah, you're right. They do. I just think it's kind of a nothing question.
Yeah, I just going into it, I still feel that while the defense is awesome and while it's the better the units, it still just feels like house money to me with the defense. It's awesome. The
Yeah,
defense.
you got to get
is good.
past that, man.
No, I know,
they're the
but
best defense in football and
Right.
having for since
but
week
it's
5.
still to me an offensive league where
Yeah.
the rules are slanted.
Yeah,
They're
this
go-
is
you know,
I get what you're saying. That's why it's I don't know.
right.
I think the defense because they're the better unit. There's my answer.
So I think
I don't really have much more to
Yeah,
say
no,
about it. I don't think it's that interesting.
right. So I think the offense for me, I still need Jalen to play well. I still think the money's on the offensive side of the ball. And when you're going up against a defense in Washington that is really not that good, their defensive line has been better. I still think their back four is not that great. Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner are good players, but it's better talent. The Washington has better talent on the offense. So it is if the defense struggles, it's okay. Not okay, I shouldn't say, but I know you don't care.
Let's get to the
All right,
matchup.
go ahead.
I just don't. I don't think you're trying to convince me of something. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't feel strongly about it. I don't. I think the game's on the Eagles. The Eagles need to win on Sunday. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
It just. I don't think it's that compelling to me.
Right. All right. 5 matchups. Number 1, Landon Dickerson versus Jonathan Allen. So we kind of talked
Massive.
a little bit there, but Jonathan Allen has been awesome since he's come back. 8 pressures in the 2 playoff games. I'm surprised. I thought he would come back and not be that good. He missed a large chunk of the season. We've talked a lot about how
hard
defensive linemen miss time
for big guys.
Now, it's not only on Landon because it's a Landon and Cam thing, but Jonathan Allen does line up across from Landon Dickerson. What's good is Landon Dickerson's obviously awesome.
That's the guy you would look.
Right.
Becton's been great, but if you had to choose, you'd still choose Dickerson.
Yeah, and there's 2 parts to this. Where one, against the pass, obviously you don't want the pocket being collapsed up the middle.
Which is, after last week, I think the biggest question mark we have coming in this game for this line.
And then the running game. If they're not going to be able to throw the ball, then they're going to have to run it. So I've seen a lot of Washington people being they shut Saquon down in the last game. And I just disagree. I know that he had the big long run, and then he had, I think, 65 yards on the next 20 carries or something like that. But and we used to do this with LaShawn McCoy. I just don't believe in 80 of his yards came on 1 carry, so they shut him down the rest of the time. That's just not how it works to
the
me.
play happened.
Right. And also, I think that I know this run started first, came first, but if you run it 3 yards, 3 yards,
that's
3 yards,
part of
and
it.
then
You're
exactly.
softening the defense. You keep pounding. They want to not want to tackle you. The whole thing. It's all part of it.
And I get there's
look, last week the 205 was greatest running ever. He had what a 78 and a 62-yard run.
Right.
So 130 or 140, or is that right? Yeah, 140 of his yards, 140 of his 205 were 2 runs. That's Saquon. That's why he's great. What are we talking about here? I'm 100% with you.
And also, I do get the whole, they're not moving it consistently, but the Eagles scored 30 plus points on the defense last night with Kenny. So I don't think they shut Saquon down, but obviously Jonathan Allen, big part of this game. Number 2, obviously we just talked about Quinion. Quinion says he's going to play.
Very aggressively. I
think
would
he's
be
fine.
shocked if he's not playing.
I think he's fine.
I think he's fine. Yeah. I think it was something where a bad stinger or something like that, where it was it felt really bad. They didn't know what was going on, couldn't put him back in the game, but ultimately he's fine.
Yeah. So I think that obviously they're still going to attack him though. So he lines up across from Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin beat him for that touchdown last game. Terry McLaurin is by far their best receiver. And I don't think they're going to be afraid to throw at Quinion. So Quinion is going to get tested. So that's a huge one. If you shut down Terry McLaurin, like they have other guys,
but it's and De'Ami Brown's been good for them.
De'Ami Brown's been good. Olamide Zaccheaus.
Like Zach Ertz, by the way,
Yeah.
still making plays for them. But I agree, like their offense runs through and around Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I think it's basically like, can Jaden Daniels run? And he obviously can. Well, but I mean, last game, like they missed so many tackles.
They were horrible against him.
So you got to bring him
and
down.
And in the first game they played, he didn't run at all because of the ribs. So it was like kind of only one game to really base it
on. So next one, Cliff Kingsbury.
Real quick on that, how much do you think the last game where he did run on them a lot? How much do you think it helps defenses to face someone like that and see his elusiveness, see the way he runs? Like, does that matter? Do you think like they have a better shot?
Brandon Graham said it really did.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
I think it does. Like, I just think, and Hugh Douglas actually said this too. Like, I think once you see someone's speed in person, there's a big advantage for the next time. The first time they played Daniels, he was banged up. He wasn't
almost
really
shocks
running.
You the first time.
And they didn't really experience it the first time, right? So
at all, like he didn't run at all.
So I think they've now experienced what it's like, and he's impressive as a runner, man. Like he's not Lamar, but he is so skinny and like he runs upright, which isn't
like
great.
Glides,
exactly.
Kinda. Like Lamar, it's like wow, look at how fast he is. Daniels, it's like he like covers so much ground, but it doesn't look like it's fluid. Like
now he does expose himself to getting hit because he runs upright.
There's a reason his ribs got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he is a very effective runner. I mean,
and he's also really good at throwing on the run, at like stopping and popping, like all that, all the stuff with running and throwing. He's great.
Well, what's crazy is, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think he's perceived as like I think Jalen is definitely perceived as a run first.
Well, because he's such a great thrower.
Well, that's what I mean. Like
such a great, but he's one of the most accurate guys in the league.
He had almost 900 yards rushing this year. Like, he had more than Jalen did. And I know Jalen missed time, but
that's why he's like Lamar. It took a long time for him to get to where he is as a passer, but he's become a great passer. Like Jalen's always been, a runner better than a passer. He's had moments, obviously 2022, he threw the ball really well and all that, but like Daniels is like elite at both.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, this guy's something.
Well, and the question, remember in that last game, there was that huge third down. I think it was like
third and 14.
And they didn't spy him and he ran. So I'll be curious to see if they spy him this time around. Or in, not having Jacoby, I wonder how much that impacts what they feel they can do with their linebackers. I don't think you want Nolan Smith spying him because you want him rushing him because he's been so much better there.
And you don't want to use up Zach Bond spying him.
Yeah. So regardless, I don't know we got here from McLaurin, but I think it's like shut down McLaurin and then
shut down the running.
Yeah.
And then you're
and
in a
I
really
think you
good
feel
spot.
pretty good about it. Like there's going to be hard for them to move the ball. Number 3, Vic Fangio versus Cliff Kingsbury.
Love this.
So
is this our first? Oh no, I think we had McVay versus Fangio.
Maybe, yeah.
But I love this. Love it.
I just like. I'm not gonna lie. I was impressed watching the Washington offense, and I'm not a big impressed by the play design, but I was impressed watching it. Like it feels like they get creative. Like
I am too, but I'm also not a Cliff Kingsbury guy.
I'm not a Cliff guy either. Trust me.
I think he's had a good year. Like credit to Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah,
he's done a nice job there. But it's like when you ask me who do you trust more, Vic Fangio or Cliff Kingsbury? It's like Vic by a mile.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. This is a bias. Kingsbury's had a great year and he's done a great job with Jaden.
Yeah, and I also think last game, for what it's worth, they did move the ball on the Eagles defense. And there were a lot of things that happened there. Chauncey got thrown out. It was an emotional game, all those things. But I was surprised by this. And let me double check it to make sure. But
the Chauncey thing was a big factor in that game. They definitely attacked McCollum after Chauncey went.
I'm pretty sure they blitzed Jaden Daniels 20 times last game.
What? There was a game they blitzed 20 times.
So according to Pro Football Focus, Daniel was blitzed 20 times and 46 dropbacks last game, which is wild to me.
That is so much higher than their.
So in the first game, again, according to Pro Football Focus, he was blitzed 5 times and 39 dropbacks.
Which is what the Eagles have done for the vast majority of the season against everybody.
Last game, they weren't getting pressure.
It's really weird.
And Vic decided to blitz. And now against the blitz, Daniels was pretty good. He was, I have it written down here somewhere. He had
your ability to bounce between stuff and stats on your phone is very impressive.
Thank you.
It shows someone who really knows how to.
He was
these things happen.
11 of 15 for 3 touchdowns and interception. His pass rating was 100. So he was good against the blitz. So on one hand, I don't think the Washington offensive line's that good. I really don't.
Especially missing Kissimmee or whatever.
Yeah, but last game, clearly Vic felt differently because he blitzed 20 times. So that is with the Cliff Fangio thing. I'm a little worried they're going to get out schemed this week. Just a little worried.
Vic? You think Vic's going to get out?
Well, they got out schemed last game.
Yeah,
And I
but
know now
it's just a
you've
weird
seen
game
it.
though, and the CJ-GJ thing might have been part of it. You might have felt like you had to blitz more because you didn't have CJ-GJ in the back to
Maybe,
cover.
yeah.
Like, I don't
But it
know.
didn't go well. Like, Cliff won the last
Let me
coaching
ask you a
matchup.
question. And if you remember, one of the big things we talked about on this show heading into that last game was the potential for it to be a preview for the first round of the playoffs. Ironically, now we're seeing it. Do you think there's any chance that Vic did what you asked him to? Do you think there's any chance Vic was using that game at all as a feeler game?
I don't. He doesn't seem like
Because
that
you
kind.
said hold it back.
I agree. I agree.
And in hindsight, imagine if you had some sweet stuff to help.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, but he doesn't seem like that type of guy.
He
I don't
doesn't,
know.
but at the same time, like,
But it is very out of character.
it's really the only time since the bye. It's the only game the defense has given up 20 points, other than the Rams putting up 22 the other day. Like the defense ever since the bye has been perfect, other than that one game.
Yeah.
And losing CJ-GJ is a big part of it. I also think losing Jalen early in a game like affects the defense. It affects everyone on the team.
I
The way
agree.
they think about it. The fact, well, we lost our quarterback, he's out. Like, it changes the way you play. It changes the way you think. Like, so I honestly, for most things, I throw that game out. Like, mostly throw that game out, other than like,
It's an
wow,
outlier.
Jaden Daniels
It's
is
an outlier,
awesome. Like,
yeah.
I give the kid credit.
They were just out of character in that game. And we said after, it was just an out of character
It's a
game.
weird
Like the missed
game.
tackles, the blitzing numbers. But that being
I feel
said,
like we should just count on one game a year against Washington being weird.
and what's crazy
Every
is,
year.
yeah, for real.
Right?
What's crazy is the pass rush numbers weren't bad. Like
Yeah.
Milton Williams, by the way, Milton Williams, like if Drew from Westchester's listening, he's like my dark horse to have a great game. Like, if you want to make a prediction.
Williams, I think here's my prediction from Milton Williams. This is a postseason prediction, but I love that call, and I think he matters. I think Milton Williams is one of those guys where the rest of the league's like, he's gonna get like 4 for 80 or something, like a
he's
deal.
gonna get a lot of money.
He's gonna get paid, and everyone's gonna be like, what? And it's gonna be a great contract. That's my prediction.
I think they're gonna pay Milton.
They might pay him themselves. My point is, Milton Williams is gonna get paid.
So I got into this debate with Ike, but like,
by the way, real quick, I'm sorry we don't ever bring it up. How funny is it to think back on the Milton Williams draft and the whole Tom Donnie and all that, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right?
With the whole like wouldn't shake.
I don't.
His
That
hand or
cornerback,
whatever
I
it
don't
was.
even know if he's playing. I
don't remember what his
But
name
isn't that
is.
wild? Like to go back to that moment now with Milton and think
Yeah.
about it, 'cause we don't ever really talk about it. But that was the beginning of Milton Williams as an Eagle.
So Ike was like saying that he thinks they value Jordan Davis more than Milton Williams.
I don't know. I mean, Milton plays more.
And like, look, Ike knows defense. Ike knows people there. So like, I take that like seriously. But like, if I'm the Eagles, I'm paying Milton Williams before I'm paying Jordan. I know that and Milton Williams will get more money than Jordan Davis.
Absolutely.
Like, I wouldn't, because of Jordan Davis's inability as a pass rusher, I would not let Milton Williams leave. Like, it's him, Becton, and Bond are the three top.
Well, those are the exact, and those are big time things.
Yeah.
You know?
And
we should get that Bryce Huff money back. Huh?
you could convince me.
By the way, we didn't talk about it, but do people realize that Bryce Huff played 0 snaps in the last game?
Yeah, 1 snap and 2 games. I think there's a shot if BG plays in the Super Bowl that Huff's inactive. I mean, who else do you?
By the way,
you put
can we
down?
take the if out of it? I believe to my core.
Yeah, I think he'll play.
If they make it to the Super Bowl, Brandon Graham will play. Maybe it's a snap, 2 snaps, 4 snaps, whatever. But like, Brandon Graham will be active. I think Brandon Graham will be active.
And I was debating this with some writers yesterday. Like, they're like, well, they're not going to make him active if it's only 1 or 2 snaps. I'm like, I disagree with
Are you out of your mind?
It's the
Talk
Super
about
Bowl.
lifting
It's Brandon
his team
Graham.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Bryce Huff was active, didn't play. Like,
right.
Nobody care.
Now the argument would
is
be,
there someone gets hurt and you need him to
Yeah,
play?
yeah,
But you know
yeah.
what? Like, it could be the last game of his career. Like, just go out and play.
yeah, I'm with you. On that
I'm
one.
so like.
Yeah.
If he can play, I would bet everything I have that they would activate Graham over Huff.
Dude, there is no shot Brandon Graham goes to Howie and goes,
It says I can play, and they're like,
And
listen, Brandon.
and Vic loves him.
I agree.
And doesn't like Bryce. So
I'm
it's not
so
like,
with you.
yeah,
I'm so with
I
you.
think he will play in the Super Bowl.
I agree with you. Yeah.
If
All
they
right.
win.
Yeah, they got to win.
AJ Brown versus Marshawn Lattimore.
I
I forgot what a fun matchup that was last year, too.
Yeah.
Like, they were going back and forth with each other.
I'd forgotten they traded for Marshawn Lattimore. Yeah.
I know. Well, he actually
He was hurt for a while, didn't play a ton.
Yeah, his numbers haven't been great in the playoffs.
He's been pretty bad
Yeah.
in Washington.
Dealing with the hamstring injury. And it's just tough with any passing matchup because it's like, who knows? He could have 1 catch for 10 yards because Jalen.
Because yeah,
Right? But
yeah.
like, he beat Lattimore up and down the field
He
last
did.
time. So
He
like,
did.
this should be a matchup you're able to win.
Let me ask you a question about AJ. In terms of, because you rewatch the games, you know, you're always kind of locked in on everything.
Yeah.
You'll see the coaches tape and all that kind of stuff. Have you been able to notice whether the knee has hampered him at all in
So
games?
I don't think it is watching him, but I thought it was interesting after the game last week at his locker. He said he feels like he's getting back to himself. So I kind of think AJ feels it's been
Ooh,
hampering him.
that-
I don't see it, but AJ seems to feel it.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. What's next?
Number 5.
Oh, we know what the 5 is. Jalen Carter.
Yeah,
versus,
Jalen
I
Carter.
mean, you had
versus
to.
Trent
Like,
Scott.
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, this is
So
just-
what's the backup's name? Trent
Scott hasn't played a snap at right guard all year besides last week. In 2021, he played 300 snaps at guard. He was ranked like 122nd out of 130 guards. He hasn't played the position for 4 years.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, it almost is so wild to me that I'm wondering if like
This
they know
guy's-
something we
Yeah,
don't.
if they like
you
this
know?
guy's gonna be a superstar. or
Yeah,
something.
well, he's a
I'm-
veteran too. It's not like he's young,
Yeah.
you know. So
former
he's
quarterback.
played tackle. Is he?
No, Trent Green.
Okay, well, it's Trent
It's
Scott.
Scott.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I was
no,
about to say,
thought it was
wow.
Trent Green for a second.
Yeah, I mean, Lane's a former quarterback, so
Yeah,
you never know.
I meant actual like Trent Green.
Right,
like,
right.
Yes.
I mean, Jalen Carter's got to dominate it. And it's one of those things where you would want to move Jalen so he is across from Trent Scott, but you don't have to do it. Like, that's where he lines up. So couldn't have worked out better for the Eagles. Now, the Shield thing's a little bit in my head of like
the moving quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I'm
so
a
we'll
little
see.
nervous about that.
And for those that didn't hear, it was basically they run so much hurry up offense that while I think Jalen Carter will be on the field still, like, is he as effective when he gets 10 seconds to rest instead of 30 or whatever?
Mhm.
So, look, I think the Eagles should win all these matchups, right? Like, the only one, again, I'm worried about Kingsbury and Fangio, like McLaurin, Mitchell, but
What do you think's the most important one?
I
Feels like Vic versus Cliff, right? Of all those,
yeah,
if you had to pick one,
yeah, but then if you had to go player, I would go Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I think it- yeah.
because like if Jalen Carter dominates,
it could be a game wreck.
yeah, like it could get a hit on Daniels early, like it could
Hurt the ribs, man.
yeah.
That's been a pretty good formula.
agreed.
I love it.
One day closer.
I'm
Once
so
we do the
excited.
once
I'm
we
so
do the key
jacked, dude.
matchup. Yeah.
Oh my god, the matchups get me going. I love the great work on the matchups, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
love
that.
the graphic, the whole thing.
Almost
This is really good.
13,000 Instagram followers.
I love it,
Slowly
dude.
but surely. Follow
What?
me.
Look at you.
I know. Slowly but surely. All right. You ready?
Final thoughts?
Yes. You want me to go
Yes.
first?
Sure.
All right. I have two.
By the way, I have so many now. One reason the Eagles have to win is I have too many final thoughts to get through this week. So like, keep going.
All right. Here it is. Books and beer are two things where I think the cover really, really matters. And you could almost convince me it matters more than what's inside.
Where the cover.
Because like
So like you're talking like a beer bottle.
like how like the cover of a book looks, the cover of a beer can.
Okay,
yeah. Like when I
more important. All
almost
right, so beer and what was the other one?
books.
Okay.
So we're in
So you are literally saying I will judge a book by its
well,
cover.
yeah, literally. Because we're in Barnes and
I
Nobles.
mean,
a few
cliches
days
are
ago.
cliches for a reason.
Exactly
Don't
right.
judge a book by its cover, but go ahead.
We're in Barnes and Nobles a few days ago.
Look at
And
you actually getting real physical books.
I know. Well, Kristen was getting a book, but I was watching a press conference on my phone. But like, as you walk around a bookstore, it is crazy how much just the cover of a book matters so much in catching your eye. Like, it would be impossible to look through all those books, read the back, and like pick strictly. Like, something has to draw you to the book, right? And so I think with that, and when I'm in a beer store, like I don't know what the difference between all these stupid beers are. So like I just like that can looks cool. Like, all right, let me check what that one is, or that one caught my eye.
Okay, so you would check though and be like, oh, I don't like IPA.
Yeah, then you
I'm gonna
do
go with
more
something else.
research.
Okay,
But I
okay.
think in
you know,
terms
this is
of-
fair. I thought you were saying
Yeah.
to decide.
No.
I'm not gonna buy a
Well-
beer because the can looks cool because I don't like IPA.
But if I don't like,
Anymore.
if
I'm
I'm
out on
looking,
IPA.
me too.
Yeah,
If I'm
done.
looking at
done with it.
my
I've had enough of IPA.
my beer buying process is, let's see what the can looks like, and if it's an IPA, I put it back down. But like, if I'm deciding between two
So I
beers
get
that are
what you're
relatively
saying.
the
I do
same,
think-
like
I think
there's something cool about holding.
I
a
think
cool
you
can.
probably go further with it than most because
Right.
that's your personality. You are
Right.
someone who's like shiny things and
Mhm.
whatnot, you know. But I agree with you to a point. I think for the catching the eye and getting me to look at something, I will though if it's like 4% alcohol, don't want it.
for
Or
sure.
if it's this, I'm like,
You then
nah.
make the decision. But I think like when you're shopping and walking, the cover of a book is so crucial too. Like,
Yeah,
if it's a cool looking
So
book,
you would then
I'd be like, well, this doesn't interest
that's
me. I'll
fine.
put it down.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Don't judge a. So you'll initially judge a book by its cover, but not ultimately judge a book only by its cover.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm okay
But I
with
think
that.
it's like in terms of marketing and catching people's
I'm okay
attention.
with this
Because
I
there's
don't
so
hate this.
many of them. Like
No,
when you
I
go
think
to-
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, psychotic to read paper books and to go to a bookstore, but you know,
well, you're a Kindle man.
support reading anyway. But yeah, dude,
I'm just shocked. I feel like you'd be such a own the book.
oh
Like,
no, dude, I've gone completely the other way.
Yeah.
So that
It's obviously a preference thing. I like still holding a book.
So it was gonna
like,
be one
and
of my-
owning it. It's
it
like,
actually is one of my final thoughts about Kindles versus books, but I feel like I've talked about it enough. So I'll
Yeah.
just save it. I just think it's psycho to read that tiny writing. Like, I didn't realize I even read it.
Well-
Rhea gave me a book. Like, she'll read thrillers or whatever, and she'll be like, "Hey, try this out," or whatever. Like, books have the smallest writing. Like I've forgotten how small. Like a Kindle, it's like that is like, and that's not even that small, or that's not even that big, and it's like twice the size of like
Yeah.
writing in books. Like it hurts your eyes to read.
Now,
books like
the
that.
counter would be you're staring at your phone, which is not great for your eyes. So while
Not necessarily.
I don't think staring at your phone is good for your eyes, right? I'm
I don't
pretty
think
sure.
it's necessarily that bad for your eyes, though. I think it's just more the staring at something for that long.
I
don't
could be
know.
wrong, but I thought staring at
Well,
any
they
like
have those-
screen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know what to think about this stuff with the.
It just
glasses
shocks
and
me you're a Kindle man.
big time.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's so much better.
Your
It's-
person, every other thing about your personality would be a book.
I like some old school.
Well, yeah, and like you love to read. I feel like readers love to own
I love to
books,
read,
like and have like
yes.
a collection at your
But
house.
that's
And
the
like,
thing is, I don't love to read to show people that I like. I don't care if people like,
right.
see my books and my wow, look at how impressive
Right.
that is. Like it doesn't mean anything to me. Like all I care about is the actual
Yeah.
experience of reading in the story. You know.
Yeah.
But I get your point. All right. What should I go with today? There's so many.
Mm.
I'll give better Oscar noms tomorrow. I'll give real.
All
They
right.
just came out today. Tomorrow will be my Oscar noms one. I'm gonna go with a silly one today, and I want to know if you agree with me.
All right.
I have two really silly ones.
All
Decide
right.
which
I'm
one to go. I have a
excited.
lot of fun. I'm in really good shape. I'll give you a choice. You want the one about bags, or do you want the one about clothes?
Bags.
Okay. What is it with bags that don't open? Like, I bought some candy the other night.
So, what type of bags are we talking?
Like, I'm talking like a bag of candy. I bought
Okay,
a
like
bag of mini Starbursts. Okay?
Okay.
They're lovely. Really
Yes.
good, right? It was always a class. I bought them. I know Emily likes them. I'll have a couple
Right,
or whatever. Like, I'm like ripping it with my hands. I'm trying to rip it with my, like, it's like made of like impenetrable plastic. You either have to use your teeth, which is you're not supposed to, or get like
Right.
scissors to open it. And there are many types of bags like this. And we know there are all kinds of bags you can use, chips, isn't that are easy to just pop open, right? Like
Yep.
pull it with your hands and they get like that. Like, why do we have to make bags hard to open?
So-
it's so annoying.
I feel this way about ketchup packets.
Okay.
And like, or like mayo packets, or like when I can't get a ketchup packet open or mayo, it drives me crazy.
I
to no
get
end.
so mad when I can't open these things, and then I end up having to use my teeth, and it's like
So I
you're not
don't
supposed to do
ever
that.
experience this with chips. I think chips open relatively.
Chips are pretty
easily.
good.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
think
agree
that's
with
why
you.
I was
Like,
using chips as an example. Like
yeah.
chips, like use those bags. Like clearly you can vacuum seal it enough where they stay
Right.
good. Like, and I've had other candies where it's not this way. It's just like 1 out of every 10 bags will be impossible to open. Like, why?
So here's a question. You know how with chips they only fill it like halfway so that they don't get crushed and everything.
Mhm.
Would you rather have a half bag of chips like we currently get, a current bag of chips, or a full bag of chips but they're crushed? So like there's more chips
For the
in there.
same price?
Yeah, same
Oh,
price.
the crushed.
But they're completely crushed.
Like they're like
Well, I mean, however crushed you think they would get, because
well, I
there's
think
no
they would
space
partially get
saving.
crushed, but I don't
Yeah.
think they'd all be. So I think on the bottom there'd be some that.
But there
stay
must
that-
be a like they obviously do it so they don't get crushed, right? So they
Well, I
must
think they also do
that
it to give you less food. I'm sure, like the less
Right.
they probably want to give you as little food as possible, where you will still buy it at the
Right.
same rate whenever they're trying to save money. You know,
crushed chips do kind of suck though.
They
Like when
do.
it's at the bottom, like
Well,
it's
when
hard to
like,
get
really,
like a,
yeah, when you can't use your hands and
I
you
thought
have
he
to
was
like.
laughing for a second.
I did too. He's choking. So,
Yeah.
You okay, buddy?
Nothing funny about that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. When it's like really crushed and it's like that is when you
It's
can't
tough.
eat it with your hands, you have to like
Yeah.
hold the bag up to your mouth. Disaster. But I'm okay if they're like, they don't have to be the full chip. I'm all right,
Right.
with, a half.
I'm
chip.
picturing more a bag full of like the
Yeah,
bottom
that's a
of the bag.
disaster.
So you would take the half bag.
I would take the half bag
Right.
over the not being able to like pull a chip. out.
Exactly. You're
But
almost,
in terms
you almost
of
use
it's
like a
like
spoon
they're like
almost.
crushed, but there's like some at the bottom, but it's like a lot of them are like third of a chip, half chips, whatever. I'm fine with it.
I
You
did
got to a
have
good place there. But the main thing is they made the bag able to open. I would want it to be openable, whatever I get.
one final quick thing, so I just remembered it, and we'll wrap
Mhm.
up. I thought the Eagles seemed tired yesterday.
Oh, great.
I thought
you
AJ seemed
dropping that
tired.
in?
I thought
Thanks.
Saquon seemed tired.
I'm sure they did. You talked about the snow.
Yeah, I'm
thing.
just putting it out there.
Well, I think that's probably why they did.
No, it could be they were at the podium and that's new to
I think
them.
that's
Like, who knows?
probably why they did a walkthrough.
Yeah, I think so.
to
I
your
think
point.
I think the team is physically recovering from that.
Great.
And probably mentally.
This is really what I want to hear. Thank you. I will
it out there.
say, on the flip side of that, I'll keep going with my 4 straight road game.
Yeah,
And
it
this
matters.
is just for 3. There are only 4 teams ever who won 3 straight road games in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. So let's remember that. 4 teams ever.
the Giants, I guess, probably
The
did it
Giants in
twice.
07. No, the Giants, only one of them. They won a home game in
Okay.
11. They were the division winner, the 3 seed, 4
Right.
seed, whatever it was. It was the Giants in 07, the 05 Steelers.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. The 2010 Packers, Aaron Rodgers, his one.
Oh,
Super Bowl,
yeah.
they were 6 seed. They went all
Did
the
the
way.
Bucks obviously not. But didn't the Bucks the year of COVID, they won 2 road games, I think. 'Cause they won in Green
2,
Bay
yep,
and then
they won in Washington and then in Green
Yes,
Bay.
that was
yeah,
it.
and then
They must have the first one must have been at
yeah.
home.
So, but in that, so only
Yeah.
4 teams ever have done what Washington
And the
tried
Super
to do,
Bowl was
so
at home.
take that.
Super Bowl was at home. I was
Well, the
actually
one they won it.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking about the
I'm
year
talking
they
about the year
didn't.
the year the Bucks won the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're talking about the year they won the Super Bowl. No, they were at home for the first game, then the next 2 were the road.
Right, with Tom Brady. They've only been to the Super Bowl once with Tom Brady.
They only went once. And
Yeah,
went,
yeah.
But they won the division, had a home game, and then
Right.
2 on the road. It was I think no, maybe was it? He played at Washington the next year. Either way, the point
Yeah.
is, yes, they won 2. So it's only up 4 times.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
crazy.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Day
19.
19 tomorrow.
That just doesn't math up to me, but I guess it
Hold
does.
on.
2 full weeks plus 2
It
weekends.
should be
yeah.
20 tomorrow. No.
No, because it's
No,
5
it
plus 5 plus
Yeah.
2.
Stop doing this. It's 14 plus 4 is 18. So tomorrow's the 19th.
Yeah. Here we go.
5 plus 5 plus 4.
I mean, we're just talking about because there's a difference between this pod and what we do on the weekend.
It's
That's
really
why.
fine.
Yeah.
I know. I get it. But all right. We'll be back tomorrow. Until